All right, that's working. All righty. I think we're ready to go. Okay. We're ready to go. In case anyone's wondering about the sunglasses, I had an eye test today. So it's not that I'm trying to be cool or anything. I'll explain it later. I had an eye test, and the pupils are dilated because of the eye test. And if I didn't wear the sunglasses, my eyes would hurt. So I apologize for that. I'm not trying to be cool. Okay, so we're going to do our normal reading. See if I take off it's too bright if I take off my glasses. So today is the disappearance day of Locan Das Thakur, a great acharya, and we'll say a few words about him, but mainly we're going to read from the Chaitanya Bhagavat today. But first, I wanted to chant, instead of the prayers to the departed Vaishnavas, I wanted to chant his song, Parama Karuna, as best I can with the guitar. So please try to follow. Paramakana Dvijana Nitai Chanya Paramakana Dvijana Nitai Chanya Shaba Avatara Charachiromani Kevalanandakanda Shaba Avatara Charachiromani Kevalanandakanda Vachabai Chaitanya Chai Sudrina Vishvashakuri Vachabai Chaitanya Chai Shakori Mishaya Chatia Seira Se Magia Buke Bolo Hari Hari Mishaya Chatia Seira Se Magia Buke Bolo Hari Hari They go on by Tripuvane Emono Toyota Masu Bhakti Jure Bachana Tare Shuri Janaguna Gatsa Achu Bhakti Jure Bachana Tare Shuri Janaguna Gata Samsare Manchia Hile Punya Se Pase Nahilo Hasha Samsare Manchia Hile Punya Se Pase Nahilo Hasha Panakarama Unjaye Shamana Kahohe Lo-Chun-dasa Panakarama Unjaye Shamana Kahohe Lo-Chun-dasa Karuna Jivana Vijay Lo-Chun-dasa Jivana Vijay Lo-Chun-dasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravidikacharya all Statena Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Abhaya, Chananada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Shila, Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantagoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Das Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gana, Siva Siddhi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Gopi Gopinath, Sayam Kunda, Radha Kunda, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuranam Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Munamai Ki Jai, Srimad Galasi Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is to the assembled devotees. All glory is to the assembled devotees. All glory is to the assembled devotees. All glorious to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. Hari Bhakti Vedanta Samani Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pajani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deshatani. So we'll read the translation. The two lords, Nitai Gaurachandra, Lord Nitai and Lord Chaitanya, are very merciful. They are the essence of all incarnations, and their specific significance is that prosecuting their way of self-realization is simply joyful. For they've introduced chanting and dancing. My dear brother, I request that you just worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda with firm conviction and faith. If one gives up sense gratification to be Krishna conscious by this process, one is sure to reach the desired goal. One simply has to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Hare without any sense gratifying motive. My dear brother, you just try and examine this within the three worlds. There is no one like Lord Chaitanya or Lord Nityananda because their merciful qualities are so great that they make even birds and beasts cry. What to speak of human beings, even stone will melt at the chanting. My dear mind, you are entrapped in sense gratification, have no attraction for chanting Hare Krishna. Since you have no attraction for the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, what can I say? I can simply think of my misfortune. So, Locan Das Thakur, just briefly, he was the author of the Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is one of the main biographies of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Chaitanya Bhagavat is based upon Murari Gupta's diary. Murari Gupta was a physician who was an associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is Locan Das Thakur. And if you're interested in understanding more about him, you could listen to this morning's class where we spoke a little bit more about Locan Das Thakur and his spiritual master and his renunciation from this material world. A great devotee, and he was ordered by his spiritual master, Narhari Saraka, to write this, and also ordered by his Shiksha Guru, Lord Nityananda, to write the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Okay, so now we'll go on to the Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur. And again, I just want to mention, if anyone's wondering why I'm wearing sunglasses, it's not that I'm trying to be cool. It's just that I had my eye test today, a normal eye test, a yearly eye test. And they dilate the eyes, and the light is just too strong from the computer. So, therefore, please don't think that I'm just a cool person or anything like that. So, with this in mind, we'll go on to the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So, Om Gana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur and Militam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So we'll share the screen here. And we are continuing with this whole interesting part of the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Hold on a second, I gotta move a few of these windows aside so I can actually read. And this interesting part is when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned from Gaya. And what did he do with Gaya? He took initiation from Ishwara Puri and he became completely, at least externally transformed. He was always the same. But externally, he manifested himself as in the mood of Srimati Radharani as the greatest devotee of the Supreme Personality of God, and even though he is God, and people were overwhelmed with ecstasy to see that. So Vishwambar, that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his previous ashram before he took sannyas, just talked to all the devotees in the Navadvip area, and he said goodbye to them. So let's continue with text 41. After speaking to everyone, Vishwambar bid them goodbye and then performed his duties. Ecstatic love of Krishna was constantly visible in the body of the Lord, and he became most renounced in his dealings. Wow. So previously, he had a different mood. All right. Let's see. Mother Sachi could not understand the conduct of her son. Well, I wouldn't have been able to understand either. Hold on, I want to close some of these other windows on the computers, so we're just interfering. All right, don't worry about that. All right, I think we're ready to go. Okay. So, could not understand the conduct of her son. Yes, she was overjoyed to see him. As the Lord wept, he cried out the name of Krishna. His mother saw that the courtyard had become flooded with tears. The Lord cried out, "Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna?" While calling out in this way, his love incessantly increased. His mother could not understand anything. Therefore, she sought the protection of Govinda with folded hands. What happened with my son? As the Supreme Lord began to manifest himself, innumerable universes rejoiced. Devotees immediately came when they heard about the auspicious beginning of the Lord's distribution of love. All the Vaishnavas who came to see the Lord were warmly greeted by him. Meet tomorrow at Shuklambara's house, where I will submit my sorrows to you in seclusion. Sriman Pandit was filled with joy. He was delighted to see the Lord's wonderful manifestation of love. After performing his duties early the next morning, he took a basket and happily went to collect flowers. In the house of Shivas, there was a kunda flower tree that appeared like the incarnation of a kalpavriksha. The Vaishnavas picked from that tree as many flowers as they liked, but the supply of flowers always remained inexhaustible and undiminished. After rising in the morning, all the devotees would regularly meet there to gather flowers. Gadadhar, Gopinath, Ramayan, Shivasa all enjoyed transcendental mellows while discussing the topics of Krishna as they picked flowers. At that moment, Sriman Pandit arrived there with a smile on his face. They all said, "It seems you are very happy today." Sriman Pandit replied, there is, of course, a good reason." The devotee said, "Please explain." Sriman Pandit then said, "Please hear the reason. A most wonderful and most impossible incident has occurred. Nimai Pandit has become the greatest Vaishnava." So in other words, the same Nimai Pandit who a few days before was the Gradual of logicians and who ridiculed the Vaishnavas with caricatures and teasing words has now become a great Vaishnava. Hearing that he has happily returned from Gaya, I went to greet him yesterday afternoon. Everything he said revealed his utmost aversion to the world. He did not display any arrogance for even a moment. In a secluded place, he began to speak about Krishna and the wonders that he had witnessed at various places. As soon as he mentioned the name Pada Padmatirtha, the area around him became filled with his tears. His entire body began to tremble, and all the hairs on his body stood on end. Calling out, "Oh, Krishna!" he fell to the ground. When he fell unconscious, there was no sign of life in his body. After a while, he regained his external consciousness with a startled motion. Then finally he began to shed tears as he called out the name of Krishna. It appeared as if Ganga herself was flowing from his eyes. By the devotion that I've seen in him, I no longer consider him an ordinary human being. On regaining external consciousness, he said only, "Let us meet at Shuklambara's house early tomorrow morning. I wish to reveal my distress to you," said Murari Pandit. Wow. There's every reason to believe this most auspicious news that I've given you. On hearing this news from Sriman Pandit, the devotees triumphantly chanted the name of Hari. The magnanimous Srivasa was the first to speak. May Krishna increase our family. May our family increase. So this is actually interesting. So most of you think family members mean people who are born in your family, genetically connected with you, blood relatives. But actually, if you're really Krishna conscious, you'll see that in one sense, all the devotees are your family. And I realized that. Then when I took up Krishna consciousness, I got a big family. And my family members were all nice. As all the devotees happily discussed topics of Krishna, a most auspicious and enchanting sound vibration arose. All the devotees repeatedly exclaimed, "May it be so. Let everyone worship the lotus feet of Krishna Chandra." In this way, after picking flowers, all the devotees returned to their homes to perform their daily duties. Sriman Pandit went to the house of Shuklambara, Brahmachari, on the bank of the Ganges. After Gadadhar Prabhu heard the news, he quickly went to the house of Shuklambara, thinking, "Let me hear what topics of Krishna he will relate." Gadadhar hid inside Shuklambara's house. Soon devoted companions of the Lord like Sadashiva, Murari, Shiman, and Shuklambara all gathered there. At that time, Vishwambara, the king of the twice-born, arrived there to meet the assembled Vaishnavas. They all greeted him in great happiness, but the Lord did not manifest any external vision. As soon as the Lord saw the devotees, he began to recite verses glorifying the characteristics of devotional service. "I attained my Lord, but oh, where is he gone?" Saying this, the Lord fell to the ground while holding a pillar. The pillar of the house broke under the pressure of the Lord. As he fell to the ground, his hair scattered, and he lamented, "Where is Krishna?" As soon as the Lord fell to the ground, exclaiming, "O Krishna," all the devotees tottered and also fell to the ground. Gadadhar Pandit fell unconscious within the room. No one knew who fell on whom. Wow. All the devotees lost consciousness due to ecstatic love of Krishna, and the goddess Janavi smiled in amazement. After some time, Vishwambara regained his external consciousness and began to cry loudly and piteously while calling out the name of Krishna. "O Krishna, my Lord, where have you gone?" Saying this, the Lord again fell to the ground. The son of Shachi cried out of love for Krishna, and all the devotees surrounding the Lord also cried. Again and again the Lord fell to the ground with great force, but due to ecstatic love, he could not feel anything. The sounds of chanting and crying and ecstatic love combined to fill the house of Shuklambara with love of God. After some time, Vishwambara became pacified and sat down, yet the current of ecstatic love continued to flow. The Lord then inquired, "Who was inside the room?" Shuklambara Brahmachari replied, "Your Gadadhar is inside." Gadadhar bent his head down and cried. Seeing this, Lord Vishwambara became greatly satisfied. The Lord said, "O Gadadhar, you are indeed most fortunate. From your childhood you have firmly fixed your mind on Krishna. I have passed my time in useless endeavors. Although I obtained that priceless treasure by the arrangement of providence, I have lost it." After saying this, Vishwambara again fell to the ground, and his entire body, which is worshipable to everyone, to be by everyone, became covered with dust. The Lord repeatedly regained consciousness and repeatedly fell unconscious. Although he hit the ground with his nose and face, he was protected by providence. He could not open his eyes due to excessive tears of love. Other than the name of Krishna, nothing issued from his beautiful mouth. Grasping the necks of those present, Vishwambara wept and asked, "O brothers, tell me quickly, where is Krishna?" Seeing the earnest longing of the Lord, all the devotees cried. They were unable to speak. The Lord said, "Please relieve my distress. Bring me the son of Maharaj Nanda." After saying this, the Lord sighed deeply and wept repeatedly. His hair was unbound and trailed on the ground. The whole day passed like a moment in this blissful state. Then the Lord took leave of the devotees for a short time. The devotees, headed by Gadadhar, Sadashiva, Shiman Pandit, and Shuklambara were all filled with amazement. They were all speechless and even lost external consciousness after seeing the transformations of ecstasy displayed by the Lord. This, of course, as explained in the purport. This is Mahabhava, only exhibited by Krishna's internal associates, especially the gopis. They all joyfully went to the community of Vaishnavas and narrated in detail the entire incident. Hearing the news, all the great devotees chanted, "Huri, Huri," and began to cry. They were all amazed to hear about the wonderful display of love. Some of them said, maybe the Supreme Lord has manifested. Others said, if Nimai Pandit becomes a good devotee, then we can easily tear off the heads of the atheists. Some of them said, know for certain that this is one of Krishna's mysteries. There's no doubt about it. Others said, by associating with Ishvara Puri, he must have seen some manifestation of Krishna at Gaya. In this way, all the devotees happily discussed various topics among themselves. They all jointly blessed the Lord with the words, may he be the object of Krishna's mercy. All the devotees began to perform kirtan in ecstasy. Some of them sang, some danced, and some cried. In this way, all the devotees happily passed their time as the Lord remained absorbed in his own mood. Returning to partial external consciousness, Vishwambara went to the house of Ganga Das Pandit. The Lord offered his obeisances at the feet of his teacher, who immediately got up with respect and embraced the Lord. His guru said, glorious is your life, my dear. You have delivered both your father's and mother's families. Your students only know you as their teacher. They would not open their books for even Lord Brahma. Now that you have returned, you should begin teaching from tomorrow. Today, go home. After offering obeisances to his guru, Vishwambara departed. Surrounded by his students, he appeared like the moon amidst the stars. The Lord then went to the house of Mukunda Sanjay, where he sat down within the Chandi Mandap. That means the temple for Durga outside of the house. Accompanied by his relatives, the most pious Mukunda Sanjaya experienced unlimited happiness. The Lord embraced Purushottama Sanjaya and drenched his body with tears. All the ladies made auspicious sounds, that's the ulu, ulu, and the house of Mukunda became the abode of supreme happiness. After glancing mercifully on everyone, Mahaprabhu returned to his house. Upon arriving at his house, the Lord sat at the doorstep of his Vishnu temple, where he affectionately bid farewell to his students. Everyone who came to greet the Lord was unable to understand his characteristics. They found none of the arrogance that the Lord had previously exhibited. Rather, they found him always in a renounced mood. Mother Sachi was unable to understand anything of her son's behavior. She simply worshipped the Ganges and Lord Vishnu for his son's welfare. She prayed, oh, Krishna Chandra, you took away my husband and you took away my son. That's Visvarup, her first son. Now I have only this one son left. Oh, Krishna, I have no one to protect me. Please give me the benediction that Vishwambara may peacefully remain at home, which he didn't do, at least in his manifest stage. Mother Sachi purposely brought Vishnupriya and had her sit in front of her son. Although the Lord gazed in her direction, he did not actually see her. Wow. So she thought, let me bring Vishnupriya in front of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then he'll become more attached to the material world and won't think of renouncing everything. Doesn't work. Because Vishnupriya is the personification of servitude. The Lord constantly recited verses and cried as he continually implored, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Sometimes he roared loudly in such a way that Vishnupriya Devi ran away in fear and Shachi became frightened. Due to feelings of separation from Krishna, the Lord could not sleep at night. He would feel so uncomfortable that sometimes he would get up from bed, sometimes he would lie down, and sometimes he would just sit there. Wow. As soon as the Lord saw a materialistic person, he would conceal his internal mood. Every morning, he would go take bath in the Ganges. As soon as the Lord returned from taking bath in the Ganges, his students would assemble there. The Lord did not explain anything other than Krishna, so the students could not understand anything. It's so funny. By the students' request, the Lord began to reveal the glories of the Supreme Lord to them. The students opened their books while chanting the name of Hari. The son of Mother Shachi was greatly pleased to hear this. On hearing the name of Hari, the Lord lost all external consciousness. Then the jewel, the twice-born, cast his merciful glance at everyone there. Being fully absorbed in Krishna, the Lord explained the names of Hari in all the sutras, aphorisms, and commentaries. The Lord said, the holy names of Krishna are the eternal truth. All scriptures explain Krishna and nothing else. Krishna is the supreme controller, the creator, the maintainer, and the annihilator. Everyone, beginning from Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, is his servant. The life of anyone who gives up the lotus feet of Krishna and explains things as separate from him is useless as a result of his false statements. The philosophies in all scriptures headed by the Agamas and Vedanta describe the wealth of devotion to the lotus feet of Krishna. Teachers bewildered by the illusory energy of Krishna give up devotional service of Krishna and take to other paths. Lord Krishna is the ocean of mercy, the life and soul of the universe, the lover of his servants, and the darling son of the coward Nanda. Even if one studies all the scriptures, if he has no affection or inclination for the name of Krishna, he is certainly degraded. If a poor fallen person takes to chanting the holy names of Krishna, he attains the abode of Krishna in spite of having many faults. This is the purport of all scriptures. Anyone who doubts this fact suffers. Anyone who explains the scriptures without referring to the worship of Krishna is a fallen soul who does not know the purport of the scriptures. Those who do not know the purport of the scriptures yet teach them to others are simply like asses carrying the load of the scriptures. The Lord awarded liberation to Putana, yet people still leave aside Krishna to meditate on others. For what happiness will someone give up the glorification of he who delivered the most sinful Aghasura? Of course, that's the snake demon. The entire world is purified by the name of Krishna, yet wretched living entities abstain from chanting his glories. Even the demigods headed by Brahma are overwhelmed by Krishna's festivals, yet people give up such festivals and take pleasure in inauspicious dancing and singing. The holy names of Krishna delivered a Jamil, yet those who are intoxicated by wealth, good birth, and education do not know him. Oh, brothers, please hear my truthful statement. Worship the invaluable wealth of Krishna's lotus feet. Oh, brothers, may you all desire to attain the same lotus feet that Lakshmi desires to serve, the same lotus feet by whose worship Lord Shiva has become known as a pure servant, and the same lotus feet from whom or from which the Ganges emanated. Who in Navadvip has the power to refute my explanations before me? Vishwambar is the supreme Brahman and the personification of transcendental sound. Therefore, whatever he explains is the supreme truth. The students were captivated as they heard the Lord's explanations with undivided attention, and the Lord also became overwhelmed while he explained the truth. Every word inherently establishes Krishna as the supreme truth, so there's no wonder that the Lord should explain in this way. After a while, Vishwambara regained his external consciousness. Feeling somewhat embarrassed, he began to inquire, "How was my explanation of the sutras today?" The students replied, "We have not understood anything. You explained every word simply in relationship with Krishna. So who is the proper candidate for understanding your explanations?" Vishwambara smiled and said, "Listen, brothers, pack up your books for today, and let us go take bath in the Ganges." Being instructed by the Lord, the students packed up their books and went with him to take bath in the Ganges. As Lord Vishwambara sported in the Ganges, it appeared like the full moon was rising from the middle of the ocean. Vishwambara sporting in the waters of the Ganges was seen by the most pious inhabitants of Nadia. The same Lord that personalities such as Brahma desired to see was now sporting in the water in the form of a Brahmana. All those persons who were taking bath at the bathing ghat of the Ganges gazed at the face of Gaurachandra. They all remarked to one another, "Glorious are the father and mother of such a son." Being touched by the Lord, Goddess Ganga becomes joyful, and out of delight she manifests her agitation in her waves. Janavi thus danced in the form of waves, that's the name for the Ganges, to worship the Lord, whose feet are served by her innumerable universes. The daughter of Janu, that's the Ganges, encircled the Lord on all sides and showered him with her waters while remaining unseen. The purport of these pastimes is known only to the Vedas, but later some of these pastimes will be revealed by the Puranas. After completing their bath, Vishwambara and his students returned to their own homes. The Lord changed his clothes, washed his feet, then offered water to Tulasi. Then, after properly worshipping Govinda, the Lord came inside and sat down to take his meal. Mother Sachi brought fine cooked rice with Tulasi flour on the top and placed it before the Lord. Sachi, the mother of the universe, sat before the Lord, and the most chaste Vishnu Priya watched from within the next room. Very shy. Mother Sachi asked, "My dear son, what books did you study today? Did you quarrel with anyone?" The Lord replied, "Today I read about the names of Krishna. The lotus feet of Krishna are in fact the reservoirs of transcendental qualities. Hearing and chanting about the qualities and names of Krishna is the truth, and the servants of Krishna Chandra are also the truth." The literatures that glorify devotional service to Krishna are true scriptures. Others are simply atheistic. Phew. One should never hear a scripture or a Purana that does not prominently describe the devotional service of Hari, even if it is recited by the four-headed Lord Brahma. A Chandala is not a Chandala if he chants the name of Krishna, and a Brahmin is not a Brahmin if he engages in sinful activities. A long purport. Pretty long. Whatever the Lord, as Kapila had previously instructed his mother, he now instructed to his mother again in the same mood. "O mother, please hear the glories of devotional service to Krishna. Be attached to Krishna in all respects. O mother, the servants of Krishna are never destroyed. Even the wheel of time is frightened by the sight of Krishna's devotees. O mother, Krishna's servants do not undergo the tribulations of residing in a womb, taking birth, or dying." That's reassuring. Krishna is the father of the entire universe, and anyone who does not respect his father is rebellious and sinful, and therefore subjected to miseries birth after birth. Dear mother, please hear attentively about the destination of the individual soul and the volume of distress he suffers by not worshiping Krishna. The living entity repeatedly dies and suffers the miseries of confinement within the womb. The reactions to his sinful activities manifest in every one of his limbs. So, of course, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is making the comparison here between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions to his mother and Lord Kapila Dev's instructions to his mother Devahuti. Oops, they're pretty long. Purple. All the bitter, sour, and salty preparations that the mother eats creates great inconvenience to the body of the child within the womb. The worms within the mother's stomach bite the tender flesh of the child, yet the child is unable to drive them away and continually burns with pain. Being encased within the hot ribs of his mother, the child cannot move, yet he survives by the arrangement of providence. Some most sinful persons do not even take birth. They repeatedly enter and die in womb after womb. Of course, those are the abortionists. Oh, mother, please hear attentively about the fate of the living entity. At the end of 7 months, the living entity develops consciousness. At that time, the living entity remembers his previous sinful activities and repents. He sighs deeply and offers prayers to Krishna. I'm sure that happened, but I don't remember it. Oh Krishna, life and soul of the universe, please protect me. Other than you, to whom can a living entity submit his sorrows? O Lord, one who binds someone can alone set him free. Therefore, O Lord, why do you deceive one who is dead by nature? I have wasted my life in vain, seeking pleasure in wealth and children. Thus I have not worshipped your priceless lotus feet. Where the sons that I raised through endless sinful activities now gone, leaving me alone to enjoy the results of my deeds? Now, who will deliver me from this miserable condition? O Lord, you are the only friend who can deliver me. I have therefore understood your lotus feet are the truth, O Krishna. I take shelter of you. Please protect me. Giving up a desire tree like you, I have become maddened and took to sinful life. O Lord, you have certainly awarded me proper punishment, but now please bestow mercy on me. Be merciful to me so that I may not forget you wherever I take birth and die. So the soul prays like this in the womb. Any place where your glories are not heard, where the Vaishnavas do not advent, and where there are no festivals for your pleasure, I do not wish to live there, even if it is the celestial abode of Indra. So is this a verse here? Or a quote from the Bhagavatam. Whoops, sorry about that. There's a quote from the Bhagavatam. I do not mind the miseries of living in the womb, provided I can constantly remember you. O Lord, grant me the mercy that you will not send me to any place where remembrance of your lotus feet is absent. O Lord, I have suffered this way for millions and millions of births simply as the result of my karma. O Lord, may those miseries and dangers come again and again as long as your remembrance, which is the essence of all Vedas, remains intact. What a prayer. Oh Krishna, please favor me with your service and keep me at your lotus feet as the son of your maidservant. If you once deliver me from this miserable condition of life, then I will not desire anything other than you. In this way, the child constantly burns within the womb of his mother, yet he nevertheless likes that situation because he can think of Krishna. He likes that situation. Whew. Must be a very pious child. By the influence of his prayer, the child does not feel distress in the womb, and in due course of time, he reluctantly comes out. O Mother, please hear attentively about the living entity's condition. He loses consciousness on touching the ground, in other words, coming out from his mother's womb. Sometimes he loses his consciousness, sometimes he cries, and sometimes he sighs. Unable to say anything, he floats in an ocean of misery. By the illusory energy of Krishna, the servant of Krishna suffers in this way if he does not worship Krishna. In due course of time, the child develops intelligence and knowledge, and if he worships Krishna, he is surely fortunate. But if he does not worship Krishna and takes to bad association, then he again sinks into the depths of sinful activities and delusion. If therefore the living entity again associates with the path of unrighteousness, influenced by sensually minded people engaged in the pursuit of sexual enjoyment and the gratification of the palate, that means eating tasty foods, he again goes to hell as before. Of course, we know the prayer is that the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable of all the senses, and if one can control the tongue, one can conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For one who has never worshipped the lotus feet of Lord Govinda, how is it possible for him to live in comfort and die in peace? To live without poverty and die peacefully, one must worship and remember Krishna. Therefore, O Mother, worship Krishna in the association of devotees, think of Krishna, and chant the name of Hari. Hmm. Long purport. Wow, really? Oh, there's no substantial result in activities that are devoid of devotion to the Lord. Such non-devotional activities simply result in violence to others. Very long purports here. Whoop. In this way, the Lord, in the mood of Kapila, instructed his mother on hearing these words, Shachi merged in ecstasy. Whether eating, sleeping, or remaining awake, the Lord did not speak of anything other than Krishna. When all the devotees heard from their friends about this, they discussed together and began to contemplate. Has Krishna manifested in his body? Is this the result of devotees' association or because of previous purificatory processes? As all the devotees contemplated in this way, their hearts filled with happiness. The devotees' distress was vanquished, and the atheists were uprooted as the Supreme Lord Vishwambar manifested himself. In the mood of a Vaishnava, Mahaprabhu Vishwambar constantly saw Krishna present everywhere in the world. He heard the names of Krishna both night and day, and he constantly chanted the name of Krishna Chandra. Okay. Long purport, another long purport. The same Lord who was once absorbed in the taste of scholastic pastimes did not relish anything now other than Krishna. In the early morning, all of his students would gather for studies. When the Lord of the three worlds began to teach, nothing other than Krishna came from his mouth. The students asked, what is the meaning of Siddha Varna Samanaya? The Lord replied, Narayana is situated in every letter of the alphabet. The phrase, and it's explained in the purport that the phrase Siddha Varna Samanaya is the first sutra of the Kalapa grammar. So Krishna was explaining everything in terms of Krishna. The students asked, how were the letters of the alphabet perfected? The Lord replied, by the merciful glance of Krishna. Boy, the students, they're probably getting pretty frustrated. The students asked, oh, Pandit, please explain properly. The Lord replied, every moment, remember Krishna. I'm explaining to you about the worship of Krishna, which is the purport of the beginning, middle, and end of all Vedic literature. Hearing the Lord's explanation, the students began to laugh. Someone remarked, it appears as he is affected by an imbalance of life airs. The students asked, from where did you get this explanation? The Lord replied, this is the verdict of the scriptures. The Lord said, if you cannot understand now, then I will explain to you in detail this afternoon. I will also go sit in a solitary place and look at my books. Let us all meet together in the afternoon. Hearing the Lord's words, all the students packed up their book and left. All the students reported to Gaya Das Pandit everything that Nimai had explained to them. In every explanation that Nimai Pandit has given recently, he explains Krishna as the meaning of every word. Since he has returned from Gaya, he does not mention anything other than Krishna in his explanations. He always chants the name of Krishna and the hairs of his body stand on end. Sometimes he laughs or shouts loudly as he manifests different moods. Every day he takes the dhatu or verbal root of every word and explains Krishna through grammatical rules. Oh, Pandit, we are unable to understand his present characteristics, so please tell us what to do. Hearing the students' words, the Brahmana Gangadas Pandit, who is the crest jewel of teachers, burst into laughter. Gangadas said, go home now and return soon. This afternoon I will instruct him. Then he may teach you properly. You may also come with him in the afternoon. All the students happily returned to their homes, and in the afternoon they came with Vishwambar to the house of Gangadas Pandit. So we'll end here. This is such a wonderful part of this book. Okay. So we're going to stop sharing here. And we're going to allow you to unmute yourselves. And if you really want to ask a question, then please either raise your hand, type in the chat window, or you can unmute yourself if you're really bold. So now's your opportunity. You can ask a question about these pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Chaitanya Bhagavat, or you want to ask a question about Locan Das Thakur, whose disappearance day it is today. We mentioned that at the beginning of class. Okay. We have one person. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All
Jai
good Srila
Haribol.
Prabhupada.
All glories Prabhupada.
Maharaj, you explained that Nimai, when he was in Gaya, while he was chanting names of Krishna, his hairs would stand up. So, for a practicing neophyte devotee who is just starting in Krishna consciousness, uh, how to attain that state? Not trying to imitate, but yes.
Well, there's a nice song by Narottama Das Thakur. Goranga balite habib pulaka sharir hari hari nayane bhabini. So anyway, uh, we should hanker for that day. How to attain that stage? Well, be very enthusiastic. Serve the Vaishnavas. The Vaishnavas are repositories of bhakti. Just like in the case of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he showed that he attained that stage, although he had that stage altogether even in the beginning. But he showed it after he met his spiritual master and took initiation. So it was by the association of Vaishnavas that one can attain that particular stage. Hearing from Vaishnavas, that's the most important part of association. Physical association is not as important as hearing. Shusho Sharanavas Dasha Vasudevikata Ruchi Shan Mahat Sevya Vipra Punya Tirtana Sevana Shusho Sharanasha. So if one hears with faith, then one imbibes the bhakti from the heart of the Vaishnavas. And by imbibing the bhakti from the heart of the Vaishnavas, then you get that bhakti. Krishna say tamar, Krishna dite par. Also, Krishna is yours, great devotees like Prabhupada. You have the power to give him to me. Therefore, I'm simply running behind you shouting, Krishna, Krishna. So, in other words, we should aspire for the stage where we can feel that ecstasy, but we don't aspire directly for the ecstasy. We aspire for the stage of love where ecstasy, like the standing of hairs on end, manifests. But if you just want your hairs to stand on end, then I have a very easy way you could do that. You just put your finger into the electric socket, and then your hairs will definitely stand on end. And well, actually, there's an actually experiment we did at the university. There was this, what is that device called? Where there's this big ball up there, and it creates some electricity, and you touch it. Does anyone remember that at the university? We used to do that. I forget the name of that device. And yeah, you touch it, and then you touch. Someone must remember. Anyway, if you remember, just type it in at this particular point. So the name just slips me right now. So you touch it, and then you touch someone else, and the whole class is holding this thing. It's like there's like a spinning thing in it, and there's a Van de Graaff generator. Yeah, Van de Graaff generator. Yeah, you got one name right. You call the graph generator. It's called Van de Graaff. It's called the Van de Graaff generator. We used to do that in the university. One person, and then the whole class would hold hands, and everyone's hair would stand on end. It was really cool. We should install one in the temple too. Yeah, let me see if I can show you a picture of it. Oh my God, I got too humorous. Too humorous. Yeah, Van de Graaff generator. Here it is. Yeah, that's it. You can buy it on Amazon. So, okay. Sorry to interject this humor into my class, but this is my nature. Here it is. It's only $379. So if you're interested in having your hair standing on end without becoming a great devotee of the Lord, here's the methodology. Just look it up on Amazon, and you get free shipping too. If you remember a Prime on Amazon. Okay.
Thank you,
Otherwise,
Maharaj.
you got otherwise you got to do the hard work. Associated with the devotees, serve, wake up early every morning, have good sadhana. Don't go around to all the restaurants that you're going around to when you're traveling. You mentioned that yesterday.
Yes, Maharaj.
So don't go around to all the restaurants eating any damn thing. Control your tongue. Then your hair will stand on end without a Van de Graaff generator. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. So one other question. Okay, Dioradika, you have a question.
Hare Krishna Gurudeva, please accept my obeisances.
Semi blessing.
Thank you.
What's up?
I was wondering about the part where Lord Chaitanya was asking, like, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Kind of like, it made me think about how we're supposed to have, like, this dependence on Krishna and really, like, yearn for him. How can we develop that mood when we are kind of going through life feeling like we are independent, but we're not?
It's your voice is actually difficult. I understood most of it. What was the final portion?
Oh, sorry. I was saying,
Maybe are you too close to the microphone or too far away?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better. That's great. Okay.
Okay, sorry, I was wearing headphones.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just asking, like, how can we develop that mood of like having that dependence on Krishna and really just like asking, where are you? Where are you? Even if, we believe that we're independent or something.
Well, if you believe you're independent, you're not going to have that mood. So you really have to be able to see Krishna everywhere and be free of anarthas, the self-centeredness, like lust, anger, greed, and everything. And that takes time. It takes time of purification, Chaitra Darpana Marjana, chanting and purifying the heart, and that way you can attain that particular stage. But just be patient. It'll happen if you just continue on the path and serve the Vaishnavas. Don't commit offenses. Then you will actually be thinking, where is Krishna? Like the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Hey Rad, hey Braja Devaki, hey Nanda Suno Kata. Where are you? Krishna, where are you, Radharani? And this way they were running around Vrindavan. Okay, I think it's time. So thank you all for joining us. It's very nice to see everybody. And we hopefully will be on tomorrow at the same time, same station. All glories to his divine grace. Shil